Following the collapse of the Mycenaean world, Greece entered a period described as the Greek Dark Age, the 11th and 10th century BC, when the isolation of small urban centers and the absence of scripts and figural art permitted memories of the glorious past to live on only through oral tradition. Poverty would once again push towards the sea the people living in this crossroads between Europe, Africa, and Asia. As archaeological research shows, the activation of sea routes from the 9th century onwards would set in motion those processes that would mark a real renaissance of the arts in the 8th century. This transitional period was characterized by the system of individual ownership in the economy, the merging of the old Mycenaean populations with some of the newcomers, and the resulting matching of religious traditions. This, compounded with the gradual expansion of the Greeks, initially to Asia Minor and Cyprus, and later in the early 8th century BC to the west during the second Greek colonization, has resulted in the shaping of a common religious, ethnic, and moral consciousness, which would play a decisive role in the historical course of Hellenism. The period from 1000 to 700 BC would take its name from the new pottery style with its geometric thematic repertoire, which was created in Athens around 1000 BC. The concept of the polis, or city, emerged onto the forestage of history, concurrently with the founding of the first major sanctuaries, which would, in the 8th century, become religious and political centers of local, Athens, Samos, Eretria, or pan-Hellenic appeal, Olympia, Delphi, Dodoni, and where it is likely that members of the Dodecatheon, the 12 gods of Olympus, were worshipped. In 776 BC, the first quinquennial Olympic Games were celebrated at Olympia. After a hiatus of centuries, the forgotten mechanism of writing was revived circa 800 BC with the adoption of the Phoenician alphabet supplemented by Greek vowels. In the late 8th or early 7th century, Homer composed the Iliad and the Odyssey, allowing the experiences of a world traveling in quest of raw materials and new places to settle to slip into older memories. Abandoning the Cretan-Mycenaean naturalistic ideals, geometric art chose to adopt stricter rules for the organization of its motifs. Vessels were given a tectonic structure and plain linear decoration, which, just before the middle of the 8th century, was amplified to include the human form in burial, procession, battle, or mythological scenes. The jewelry, primarily copper, more rarely gold, also conformed to strict patterns. The figurines also were highly stylized. All these things point to a conservatively minded society which remains faithful to tradition.